Some say the most rewarding feeling in poker is making a correct hero call.
Wow.
Successfully reading your opponent can make you appear to be a mind reader, to be a god amongst mere mortals.
Jesus.
But that's not what this video is about.
Calls. Wow. Puts on the cape, falls flat on his face.
Today, we are going to look at 5 of the best hero call fails. That's right, players who trusted their instincts, went with their intuition, worked up enough courage to put their money in the middle just to be shown that they were 100% wrong. I'm not going to sit here and make fun of these players, but you can, if you'd like. Let's get to the action.
No, that's not going to look good on TV.
Straddle is on. Ian O'Hara in for a hundo.
Hellmuth raises it to 300 with ace-9.
Hellmuth loves the old ace-9. I don't fax with that.
Now we're even, JG.
Oh, come on in, Silverman.
Looks like PBF is in.
Come on, all the cool kids are doing it. Call, call.
Ian O'Hara is going to need to have 2 blanks. Wow, he folds the king-4 despite getting ridiculous pot odds.
If I bet a normal amount, he can raise all
He would have flopped top pair, and it would have been the best hand. Womp womp.
Don't have to worry about that.
Torelli's got the best hand here with ace-jack. He made a pair of jacks on the flop. Both Silverman and Sideman paired their 7.
Show the table, they start to go, what is going on here?
Yeah, and just be frustrated.
Checks around.
That's the only way for me to win that pot. Say all in.
Deuce on the turn.
But I didn't have the heart to say it.
Who was the guy who used to bet quack quack all the time?
Jeff Gross picks up a flush draw.
Paul McGraw.
22. I just thought of him. He always bet in the 2s.
I have not seen Paul McGrail in a long time.
23. I haven't thought of that name in almost a decade.
From 22.
For some inexplicable reason, Phil Hellmuth has bet here, thinking he can get 4 folds. Not very likely. And what would Hellmuth bet now that he wouldn't continue with on the flop? Torelli calls. I don't think Silverman can stick around with third pair. Nope. Conversely, wow, Jeff Gross folds the flush draw. People actually fold flush draws?
Not when I play.
No.
Another jack on the river for Torelli.
Hellmuth wisely waves the white flag.
That's really messed up. I was going to say the exact same thing.
Really?
Like I was about to just say that.
I would say that we share a brain, but that would mean that we both have half a brain. Actually, that's probably generous.
I'm going to get a speech after this end for sure.
Hellmuth calls.
Wow. Phil puts on the cape.
No, that had me beat.
Oh, it did?
And immediately falls flat on his face.
Okay. Thought I got lucky on you in the end.
No, you did not.
A thing where we're all like in it together.
Vibes now with ace-queen in the very next hand.
I specifically said
MJ kicks it up with the 10-9 of hearts.
New York gets this rep as being jerks, but I was like, they're way meaner in Boston.
Yeah, Bostonians suck. And the weather sucks.
And Vibes is going to call.
No, but it's
These players are pretty deep stacked,
absolutely.
well over
I don't know,
10,000
I'm
deep.
York, but, I mean,
And what a flop for
let's put it this way,
MJ.
the first- so I went
Just
to-
flops
I
the
went to
straight,
college
but
in
not much for
California.
Vibes
First year I
here.
moved to Boston.
MJ with the open-ended straight flush draw to go with it.
I just traveled for like.
And you would think that maybe sometimes MJ would check, but he's aware that he's perceived to be so aggressive that he thinks he would just bet a lot. And so he bets with this hand as well. And wow, Vibes makes kind of a loose call on the flop and gets immediately punished. He thinks he makes the best hand, but unfortunately he is as dead gets.
And then in the summer we would
MJ putting together a very large bet. Actually not as big as I was thinking, 2K into 3K. And once Vibes decides to check call the flop, he has to call here on the turn.
It's great, like you haven't gone out there?
Vibes is a little worried that MJ does have a big hand, aces, kings, jacks, you know, maybe queen jack suited, but generally Vibes thinks he has the best hand. And look at that straight flush now for MJ, and that's actually a bad card for him because now Vibes can't beat flushes either if MJ did just have a flush draw. And wow, MJ with a huge bet on the river just puts Vibes all in.
10 deuce off with a 10 of hearts. I could beat that.
What do you have?
I mean, what would you do? That's easy to see when you see the cards, but it's a real tough situation.
You know, there's like all this stuff out there. There's, you know, the 9-10, of course. There's the hearts.
It's true.
I only have one pair.
How about both of those?
Like under normal circumstances, you toss it in the muck for a 3x all in.
Yeah, it's a huge bet here on the river.
But this is MJ.
Sure is.
This guy plays $1 million pots and he's like, he doesn't want to tell me what to do. Oh, it's very close. I mean, I feel like I should just call, but I knew I was going to be in a spot like this against MJ.
Oh, and Vibes does call, and he's going to see the straight flush. Wow, $38,000 pot over to MJ.
It's a tough spot.
This hand, we have an all-you-can-eat straddle buffet. 5 of our 6 players are now in the blinds, with Safadine straddling to 400, Ohayon straddling to 800, and Esfandiari straddling to 1600. So the action will begin on the button with Roberts, who decides to just call with the ace-4 offsuit. Personally, I'd like to see a raise or get out of there. Yong calls in the small blind, which will be an additional $1,500. And now the action's over to Safadine, who's in the straddle. The first straddle, I might add.
Call.
He's going to call with the ace-9 suited, definitely a hand that's worthy of seeing a flop. Ohayon has king-jack of spades and calls.
Denied. Option denied.
And Esfandiari in the final straddle will check and take his flop.
It's over in 2 hours.
10-4-3, huge flop for Rob Yong, flopping top pair and a flush draw. Unfortunately for him, no one else has much of a piece. Antonio has middle pair bottom kicker, and Roberts has middle pair top kicker, but not a spot he's gonna get a lot of action. Ohayon makes the call here on the flop, and I can't say I'm a big fan of that. What's he really drawing to? Sure, he can hit a king or a jack, but in general, he's just gonna brick, and if someone else raises, he's gonna be totally out of luck. Both other players fold their middle pair, and now it's just Yong against Ohayon. The turn's the 6 of spades, which doesn't really change things too much. I don't mind a bet here, but I wouldn't mind checking and playing it a little more trappy to try and get your opponent to bluff.
Bet 15,000.
Over to Ohayon, and now I think he's gonna just have to fold, but he disagrees with me, and that's why I'm in the booth. The river is an offsuit 3, brick card. Yong would have preferred to hit his flush, but it's still a pretty safe river. And he decides to bet a small bet here relative to the pot, 12,000 to go. And what is Ohayon thinking about? He just doesn't buy it. I would say that was an adventurous call down from Ohayon, and Yong's going to reap the rewards to the tune of a $75,000 pot.
You like the flop?
Nice, man.
You know what I mean? Like, you could just have something.
It's really gangster if you check call there.
Isn't that though?
Because he was going to probably bet. I don't think
always gonna fire.
he probably wasn't going to check.
Whole pickle. How much is that?
That's like one of those hands that somebody
wasn't
will
gonna
watch
check
and like,
with,
this
like,
kid doesn't know what
9-9.
he's doing. Like, he's bluffing with the best hand. Like, that's how far off my read is. I'm like, I got him drawing dead and I'm bluffing with like a really good hand. That's how bad a player I am. And just how far off
You are pretty bad. You just
and just
lucky.
like how far off my read is.
I heart Cletus. Please don't change. Don't ever change, Dan Wolf. Tilly with pocket aces brings it up to 1,700.
The other day, I bluffed when the flush hit, and I showed him. I just jammed it all in, and I showed him. That's why I didn't know how he would take this one.
I have to respect that. I fold. Good fold from Goosack.
Jen, you want me to call?
Step on 5.
Back to Alec Torelli.
No, wait.
Torelli does have a hand that can crack an overpair. But the key to Alec Torelli's game is that he's actually so good post-flop that even if he doesn't crack the hand, he can sometimes get them to fold it.
The nuts here, and I'm just jamming, like, batting right into it.
Well, you know, I just never have the nuts.
But, like, I gotta get you to fold,
Or
like,
you.
You know.
I just never
You
have
have,
the
like,
nuts.
random stupid stuff that you play like that, so I just had to get you off it.
There's nothing on that flop that's going to scare Tilly away. She bets 2,000, and Alec calls.
Definitely got a call. There's a club out there and a pair. That card is not so good for his hand.
Just for protection. Do it for protection, you know?
For protection.
Like,
Diamonds aren't a factor, but Jen is
check
not
it.
to know that. Diamonds and a 10 are Alec's most likely holdings when he calls the flop.
Yeah, and you stuck with a pair on like 3 flush, 3 straight, just like.
And that river card is like the 7th Chucky movie. Not scary at all.
For protection.
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 A little protection.
$2,500 from Tilly.
She's made a pretty small bet relative to the size of this pot, but I don't think we're gonna see Alec call here ever.
Small?
Jen's rarely gonna have total air here, and that's basically all a pair of threes is beating. Wow, Alec does call.
Nice.
I don't know what he put her on. King 8?
Nice hand, Jen. Nice hand.
Ace 7?
Why don't I get them?
Not beating a lot there.
Splashing around a little bit.
Of course, if Alec Torelli did it, it's probably right.
$100 straddle tonight, too.
Oh, you were
On our last hand last time, Jeremy Kaufman got rivered big time by Doug Polk and ended up being felted, but yeah, bought in and is giving it the old college try yet again.
I told you Jeremy Kaufman would be back. He never quits.
Deeb with 7s, makes it 500 with 7s.
Is Doug covering his face in embarrassment over that last hand? I hope so.
You should be. If you haven't seen the episode, go back and rewatch the last 3 minutes. It might make you puke.
I didn't even attempt it.
Jeremy Kaufman calls. Matt Glantz is involved down at the other end of the table. He also called. Flop is 7-5-4. Deeb flops a set. Absolutely nothing doing for Kaufman or Glantz.
Coming in hot.
It's fun stealing the money. That's one of my favorite ways to win putts, honestly.
Stealing is
You know what I say, though, Chris? Always bet your sets. Sometimes you're going to get folds on boards like this, but other times you're going to build a pot. And check it out. We are building a pot. Kaufman calling with 3% equity.
Oh, yeah.
And that's it. Kaufman drawing dead. Checks to Deeb.
Upload to the mothership.
Deeb's going to like this ace. Kaufman's going to peel a lot of times with an ace in his hand, hands like ace-king and ace-queen. Kaufman's going to expect that Deeb would bluff at this ace a lot also.
Shower.
And there's a call from Kaufman.
Drawing stone dead.
Man, just not believing what Shaun Deeb is telling him.
Hoodie Doug. Matt and Frank might notice.
Don't play angry.
You know?
Don't play angry.
Shaun's definitely not folding. The question is, will he raise? He's raising.
What did you say about a mothership? Like, I just heard mothership.
Jeremy, don't re-bluff.
This is the time where you're
How can you
supposed to
do
fold.
that? That's not fair. In 6 words, you
You can fold now.
Now.
You guys heard the word mothership, right? Everyone else heard that?
It was like 40 minutes. Mothership, download.
I was seeing if like it would come up again, but then it just didn't. So like.
I think he's just going to make this look
So
good.
you waited for him to start talking about photographing behind walls
It just
before
seemed
you
like
interrupted
mothership
that
was so
train of
far
thought with
Feel free to
mothership.
fold whenever you want here, Jeremy.
I think he's probably just rethinking his entire life right now. He called. Oh, my goodness, he called.
flopped it.
Oh, I don't feel good
What
about this at all.
in the wide, wide world of sports is that?
Damn, that's not going to look good on TV, Jeremy. Holy crap.
Please have the low straight. One time, Jeremy.
He seems genuinely sad now. Bad luck just seeing a thing like that.
No, that's not going to look good on TV.
Well, that was fun. What do you say we watch another one? Get comfy. It's called a click hole. Don't worry, no one's going to tell your boss.